is called the pudendal nerve.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's our sensory neuron that comes into the posterior great horn.
Sensory out.
And this is going to be for both male and female, correct?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so sensory out is pudendal.
That comes into the posterior great horn of the sacral spinal cord. Okay? Then, erection is parasympathetic. So we have a reflex arc that connects with the preganglionic neuron of parasympathetic. And that's going to go out via the pelvic splanchnic nerves.
Sensory out,
Motor.
motor out.
Motor for parasympathetic. So this is preganglionic parasympathetic. Normally, it goes into the wall of the organ. So it was the bladder, okay, or the uterus, it would go into the wall of the organ like we learned last semester.
Right.
But instead, it goes just into the pelvic cavity,
Mm-hmm.
and there it synapses with the postganglionic neuron, and that goes to the blood vessels of the penis. And so this is forming the cavernous nerve.
Oh yeah, that little branchy thing.
On the test, you're not gonna have the drawings that are in this, the squares, like that. It'll be-
If I have a drawing, it would be the one on the PowerPoint,
Okay.
okay? So this is going to penile arterioles. And that's what's gonna release the nitric oxide that causes the calcium ions to move back into the sarcoplasmic reticulum of the smooth muscle. And that causes the smooth muscles to dilate, blood flows in, veins are compressed, and the penis or the clitoris become erect. So that's erection, okay? Is that clear?
Yes.
So it's just that,
Male and female. Male and female.
yeah, male
Okay.
and female, okay? So then if we look at emission, and for emission, it would be the periurethral glands are the only thing that secrete for emission in the female. Those are equivalent to the prostate. So that's all we have for emission activity in the female. Sensory is going to be the same. So we're going to have the dorsal nerve of penis or clitoris. That's going to be the same for all three of these, okay? It's going to become part of the pudendal nerve, and it's going to end in the sacral spinal cord. But emission is sympathetic, okay? So the second order neuron of this is going to cross over and go up to the lumbar spinal cord, where we have our lateral great horn. And it's going to go up to this side, but we're working on this side. So we have to do its component neuron coming in here, and that one crossing over, and going here where it's going to synapse with our sympathetic preganglionic neuron. Okay? Because sympathetic is only in the in the lumbar spinal cord. So this is sacral spinal cord, and this is lumbar spinal cord. So that's why we had parasympathetic coming out of the sacral spinal cord, but we need to put in the lumbar spinal cord. So our sensory, this first order neuron stops in the posterior great horn. The second neuron of our sensory pathway crosses over, if you recall from 430, and goes up. We have to bring it over from this side to go up. Here's our lateral great horn. That's where we have the cell bodies of our sympathetic neuron. All right? So preganglionic sympathetic is going to come out the motor pathway. It's going to go through the white ramus communicantes. It's going to come down the sympathetic chain, all right? And then it's going to come out the sacral splanchnic. So this would be the sympathetic chain. And here we, that would be the chain ganglion, but it doesn't synapse there. And it comes out the sacral splanchnic nerve. And in the plexus, it synapses with the postganglionic sympathetic nerve, which doesn't have a separate name. Okay? That postganglionic sympathetic nerve is going to go to the vas deferens for the propulsion by peristalsis of the sperm. And it's also going to go to my anatomy here, it's a little off. It's going to go to all the glands. So it's going to go to prostate gland and seminal vesicle and bulbourethral glands. All right? So it's going to go to 3 glands, and in the female, just the periurethral.
Okay.
Okay?
And also
How
it
does
goes
this
to
relate?
vas deferens too, right?
Yes, yeah, that's what I have over here.
Yeah.
But it's on the diagram in class, it's no vas deferens.
I don't remember, but it would go to the vas deferens.
Okay.
So this is going to go to the female to the periurethral. Okay? So that's all
Emission.
sympathetic.
Okay.
Okay? Then we have ejaculation, which takes all 3. So let's put this apart a little bit. So we have dorsal nerve of the penis. Going into the sacrospinal cord. Penis or clitoris. And there it synapses with the preganglionic neuron of parasympathetic, which forms the pelvic splanchnic nerve. And then it's going to go to the urethra. Okay? So I didn't show it going into the wall of the urethra, but it would. So now this is going to the urethra for peristalsis. Okay? To kind of milk the sperm through the urethra. Then we also have the sensory neuron crossing over going to the lumbar. And synapsing with sympathetic, preganglionic. Wrong one. This is going to come out the ventral ramus, down the spinal cord again. A sympathetic chain, rather. So this is sympathetic, preganglionic. It leaves the chain via the sacral splanchnic again. In the pelvis, it synapses with postganglionic. And now it goes to the internal urethral sphincter. Of the bladder. To cause that to constrict and not let any urine go to the urethra. Okay? now the major force of ejaculation comes when the dorsal nerve of the penis forms a reflex with the lower motor neurons in the anterior great horn of the sacrospinal cord. That goes out as part of the pudendal nerve. Okay? And then it's going to go to the ischiocavernosus. And it's going to go to the bulbospongiosus muscles and cause those skeletal muscles to contract. So lower motor neurons, because it's a reflex. All right, we do have upper motor neurons coming down, so you can, if you focus, you can increase or inhibit the bulbospongiosus or ischiocavernosus muscles from function much. So these are going to
You said pudendal nerve?
yes.
Okay.
So the pudendal nerve contains both the whoops, I did it the wrong place. I'm sorry, that's
That's
my
okay.
problem. That would be an issue. Thank you for correcting that. So I apologize, take a picture, I apologize if that changed your drawing. So it should come through the pudendal nerve.
Oh, you said answer.
By pudendal, I don't have it on here yet.
It's on the other one, yeah.
Oh, so it's up here, okay. So I don't have it labeled. Bye.
So how does this, if it does relate to when you're asking questions about sympathetic, sacrosplanchnic or gentle femoral pudendal, do they relate at all, or is that something completely separate?
So the genital femoral
Yeah.
has sympathetic in it, but remember sympathetic also goes to skin?
Mhm.
So
Like the
sweat
chest.
glands
Mhm.
in my thigh are gonna get sympathetic via the femoral nerve. Sweat glands on my face are gonna get sympathetic via the facial nerve. Okay? So to the dartos muscle of the scrotum,
Mhm.
which is smooth muscle, it's getting sympathetic via the genital femoral. That's how it gets to the skin. The splanchnics go to organs. Splanchnic is another, like visceral, means organ. So it would go all the way out the ventral ramus with that genital femoral nerve to get to the skin.